Good morning, Keith McGowan, the Outboard Dad here to help you have a better boating experience. Please, we're going to go through today some 9.9 Mercury outboard water pumps and show you how this gets done. We got some new parts, so we're going to open up our parts, go through all those parts, lay them out, and show you how this gets done. So typically, I like to use the local outboard shop, but I called them on a Saturday. They were very busy and couldn't get in touch with somebody. So I went online to boats.net and got these parts. So wouldn't it be nice if that outboard shop or that supply house that I went to had online access? Unfortunately, they don't, so this is what we did. So let's open up this box and get into it and see what we've got. So first, we're going to open up this box and line up all the parts to make sure they match up and see what we got. We want to make sure that what they sent us are the correct parts. So we're going to match them up against the old parts and make sure what we have is good before we get started. So I like to keep all of my old parts in one place. This way, when I'm taking something apart, I always have everything together because I might work on one or two projects at the same time. So I have a nice clean surface. I made sure I had some clean rags I put down on my bench here because I don't like anything to get dirty or extra little parts on anything. So this is the way we'll lay it out. We'll check out each one, and I'm going to line up each part with the new parts so that we can have a good matchup. So now that I know I have a clean surface, I want to have a clean rag to work with because I want to make sure I keep my parts clean. Also at the end, you notice I wear gloves, but sometimes it's good to have these grate wipes. They're great for cleaning yourself up when you're done, but I like to wear gloves through these process. You'll see me change sometimes to nitrile gloves for certain applications, but for what we're doing right now, the basic gloves work okay. These are the nitrile gloves I get. I just pick them up over at Harbor Freight. Not a big deal. Anywhere they're good, they're just going to be thrown away anyway. So let's get into these parts and see what we got. We can see the water pump, the old one, kind of takes the shape of the water pump casing. Also, the rubber is not pliable anymore. So let's get into this box. Let's go through what we have and line it up with the old parts as a matchup. Okay, so here's my new water pump impeller. Here's some other parts that we have, gaskets that were set up here. They're in different bags. And then I also got a separate kit. So let's open these up. Let's look at them. Before I open the bags, I'm going to line them up at each one to see what they match up to be. And then I'm going to open up my kit to see what comes in that. So let's check it out. Then what I'm going to do when I'm checking out my parts is I'm going to look at the receipt that comes with it. Make sure all the items I ordered came in. And some of them I might want to return or save for other projects. So I just want to check off the list. So I want to check out the seals that are in this casing. And I'm going to open up the bag and check them out. Make sure they line up with the old seals and they are the right size. I'll also slide it over the shaft to make sure it matches up. So let's open up this bag and see what we got inside. So now that I got the parts laid out, I'm going to open up the instruction sheet that comes with it. They have a nice parts diagram here, and it gives you a sequence of how these parts go together. So I want to put that aside to make sure we follow it. I noticed here I have two of the same gaskets, and how did that happen? I didn't really get a list, and this is one of the challenges when you order stuff online. I didn't really get a list of what parts came in the kit, so I didn't know that that gasket was going to be in there. So again, it's one of the advantages of going to your local place because they're going to know those things. So order online. I may have an extra gasket. I'll hold on to it and save it for maybe another project that comes along. So I noticed in the kit, I didn't realize I would get a new housing here to put my new seals inside of. So I want to line that up, and I also see there's a tube here, the pickup tube, that has to come off and go inside the new one. So we're going to make sure the seals line up, that tube lines up, and we'll make sure that we pick the right ones in this bag here. So I want to keep in mind that we want to keep these areas clean. So that's why I have some cleaner for that. And I'm going to use this sealer here when I put my seals in to make sure we have a good seal around the outside as well. Now, if you've seen my videos, you've seen me use this before. OMC has a part number for it. It's simple weather stripping adhesive. Works great for water pumps of all brands. We're going to follow that diagram. Any of my other seals and check videos. I have this nice little setup here I put together. Bought the parts on Amazon, nice little gauge so we can pressure test after we put the seals in to make sure that we won't get any moisture in our lower unit. So these are the different seals that come with it. This kit lines up for several different models, so that's when we line them up. We also have a few other gaskets here, and I see this rubber boot that goes in the lower unit where that pickup is to pick up the water. So we want to match this stuff up with the old systems and the old parts to make sure we have the exact match. We're also going to clean out that tube that goes up inside the motor. I'll show you how we're going to do that as well. So interestingly enough, this is the reason I started working on outboards. Someone was putting this seal over the shaft on one of my lower units and cut the seal. So this seal is very delicate. We're going to put some tape, as you notice I put on this spline, because I don't want to cut that seal when I slide it over it. That's how I learned how to do it the right way from someone else that showed me. So these seals, if you look closely, are stacked. Notice there's two. See how there's a spring in there? And if you remember, we took out the old spring from the one that was in there. This is a new spring now, and it's going to grab that shaft. One's going to go facing that way, so the water pressure holds it so it seals off. The other one goes the opposite way underneath, and that's how it keeps the oil pressure holding it sealed so the oil can't come out of the lower unit. So right now, I'm just keeping this rag covering this up so I don't get any dirt down inside here. But ultimately, this surface is going to have to be cleaned. Usually, I used to use a little sandcloth on it, but right now what I do is I don't want to scrape any of that paint off of there because it's actually keeping it from getting corroded. And I want to have it nice and clean and dry surface when we mount our new water pump, our new gasket, and the sealer. So now what we're going to do is we want to pull these old seals out. We want to see how bad they are. We're going to use this seal puller. It's a cheap tool I got from Sears. Just has some nice hooks on it. Had it for many years. And we're going to use that to grab those old seals and pull them out. Then we're going to match up the new seals and make sure they line up properly. So it's pretty straightforward. We're just going to hook this in here. But as I look at this, I notice there's a crack in this old one. It's a good thing they sent us the new one in the kit. Again, that's one of those things that when you went to your local place, they would probably tell you you need to do that. But look closely here. You can see the crack that's in that. So no matter what we did, if we tried to put new seals, this would never work properly. So I'm glad we got a new one in the kit. So there's just a small screw here. We're going to remove this copper pickup tube. Once we get that out, then we can flip this over and get our seal puller inside there and see if we can get those old seals out. Now sometimes those old seals are rusted. We also want to inspect this. I see there's a rubber that needs to be replaced on this, so we'll make sure we use that. But let's see how this looks when we try to yank this out of here. Okay, so it's already kind of almost falling apart. So the outer casing is pretty badly rusted on this. And we probably would have broke this plastic anyways. So again, I'm very happy that we got the new piece. But let's take a look at this. As we try to pull the seal out, you can see how rusted that is there. And there's no way we would get a new seal in there that would seal off properly. So the new ones, we're going to put some sealer around the outside on. This way we're going to slide them in nice and easy on the new casing. So first, we're going to take this new casing and just line up the seals just to double check to make sure we pick the right ones. Looks like they're going to fit right in there. It'll take a little pressure. We'll put some sealer around it that'll help it slide into place and seal it off. Please like, subscribe, and send me any comments you have, and then we'll continue on with this process.